pump top. That makes it easy because you can just pull them out and go. So, the descriptions are really great for different things that we can meet and hovering over. So, really can't beat how cool the show floor is, and some of these big vendors. Like I said, a regular show, even with the size of the booth Froggy's usually has, it's still usually crowded together. Oh, see now you can actually see it by the pallet. They'll always tell you how much the pallet is and how big it is, but you can really sort of it's funny because you talk about the big gallon drums and stuff, but you never get to see them at the show because you can't lug them in like that. So I'm actually getting a kick of seeing some of it, and getting the scented and the gel. Jeez, it's a lot of good stuff with it. Even I, haven't been to shows so much over my 20-year career haunting and things like Froggies. It's neat seeing this much more uh, visualization at a show than they normally bring to a booth, which is really good. And this was only just the first portion of what they have going on. I think that one's taking a little. I think some of these products are taking a little longer for my system to load. But even the dispensers, which is really good, and this is hard stuff to find too. This this season, and stuff that we know will work too. That's sort of the good part with some of the sourcing. We don't have to do a trial and error. I know I had a work for a haunt that'd be like, oh, I can just get that from Granger and stuff, and you wouldn't know if that's going to work for what you really want it to. When the good thing about vendors that you see at these shows is they've they, they've tried it, they've tested it, their customers are other haunts. So if it's working, it's going to work at a haunt. Not necessarily the case with every product you'd buy off the shelf. I love the different fog fluids that they've come up with over the years. This is, one of those things I was mentioned earlier about the growth and stuff. Before it'd just be all right, pour it in. It's a frog fluid. It's a fog fluid. What are we going to do with it? And they have the different formalizations for the different type of fog machines out there, so you can really get the bang for your buck. Yeah, some of these quick blasts and things. I've seen some of the numbers over the years on how this can be the cost effective thing. It may look like, oh, this bottle's like $5 more, but a machine that's trying to do a fast blast will burn through regular fog fluid that's formulated differently 3 times as quick. So it's real neat and good with establishing relationships with these vendors, even if it's not a product or something you're going with. We all know it's a neat industry, and we grow so much. That's good even checking out and getting an idea of what some of these are. And again, with the neat part of Fear Expo is you can take your time on the show floor a little bit more. You don't have everybody pushing around. And I do love the hovering and stuff because you look at the stuff and go, all right, is this anywhere within my price range? Is this what I'm looking for? Is this what I need my budget? And sometimes you get a little afraid to ask. So I love that this thing you just hover over and you don't feel like you're burning up time to take it. Oh, this is a neat part I hadn't seen before with the pop out videos to actually show the things in effect. So yeah, the Froggy booth has got it all. Again, this is real neat because you get a snippet of all these little things normally at a physical show. Here we can actually see them within themselves. Sometimes it'd just be the row of scents over there and everybody crowding around it. Here it's actually really well organized to see what goes together. Ah, the fog bubbles. Hazing ground. Geez, it's one stop easy shopping to know where everything goes with what. And look at that, the laser set up with it too. God, I love swamp lasers. Ooh, these are good setups. After a class, I might have to wander around. I might have the most kicking lawn on the block after this. Gotta love the show specials. So that's a real neat setup with Froggies, and definitely wander through and see what else we got. Dark Creations room. Let's see what we got in room 3. All right. Seeing what Rip City is. This is neat stuff too, because some of the things can just draw your eye in, um, like you would at a normal show. Ooh, and the zoom in part of it, I figured that out on the fly with the mouse. Death metal paint. Now, this has been the biggest thing, the different rusts and paint metals on here. And again, paints is always something you don't think about and how well it'll affect your haunt and everything with too. I've had to do the sourcing and buying paints for my haunt, and the owner says, "Here you go, here's your budget, here's this, get it." And I just go and get your regular airbrush paints and stuff and not realize some of the volume and things. You really need to get a good source, work with your actors, work with your managers, ahead of time. You'll get a better idea at some of this. The bulk discounts you can find at these shows and some of these better effect paints. You're going to find out, oh, yeah, I got this cheap purple paint. It works pretty well. And you find out that your artists and actors need to use like 3 or 4 coats to get the effect that you wanted during the season. So make sure you're talking with your actors and managers so that when you are at shows like this, you're getting the most out of what you need and what you go with. Spray blood is a fantastic thing. This is also a makeup saver too, because you always get those actors that show up late. You throw them into the last roll. They get some zombie stuff, and they're not going to have an excellent makeup job, but just any type of blood in a bottle and just getting that formulated right, and even having that available has been a really neat thing. So this is a cool product that they have here, and of course, the rusting kit. Everything seems more creepy with rust. It seems it's been such a big trend, and also a trend we're seeing in a lot of haunts. Stage blood with the bottles. Yeah, this is funny because you'd see the blood and you never had this type of bottle which is in. It always just be in your normal pour out bottle, and you'd have to pour it into another one. And I've gone and added it to my cart to take a look at, to which my computer will die a slow death. Let me see if I can just go back. If not, we'll pop back out on the show floor. I do love that some of these bottles are more friendly to, the application you're going to use at your haunt. And a lot of that comes from, talking with these vendors and going through it, type of, what we do in the spotlight, we try and talk to them and everything. But the neat thing about these shows and the networking is being able to engage with these vendors and working with that type of thing, because they're there to learn as much as to sell, because it'll give them a better product. And it's really neat too. If you ever have examples, you get a good relationship with a vendor. If something's worked during the season, bring a picture of that or something with them. I can't tell you how jazzed a lot of the vendors have gotten over years just to see some of their stuff in work at the haunts. They try and keep up and see what's going on, but you show them how you used it. Half the time too, they're like, wow, never thought of doing something like that. Hey, we could change this, or we got this product over here that's going to work a little bit better than what you tried to do with that. Even though it looks good, this is going to work perfect. Or if you start telling them a different idea of what you wanted to do. So, that interaction, they're looking for it too. Spookies. Here we go. There are a few of them in here. In one of the CFX rooms. Ooh, haunt actor paperwork. You never find that enough. That always comes out to be something, especially in this day and age. You got to have everything in there. I'd always find that as a good litmus test for some of your applicants and stuff too. If they're not filling out the paperwork correctly, putting their name where it belongs, reading the stuff, how well are they going to take direction and everything? I'll save you a lot of time. Ooh, more detail on the show floor. I'm afraid to click and look at some of the detail on this because I know it's going to take me back and forth, and let's not have the dead air for everybody. Screenscapes, but you got some neat vendors crammed into here. Now, CFX, always a fun one, always a tough booth to get to for normal shows. So it's real good that you can actually go in, pop in, and see his stuff. And again, your coupons and your breakout on the different types of ones that work. So we've categorized the clowns, the dolls, the humans, the hoods, but I liked this over here. UV is all in its own little rooming category. Really get a view of that. And it actually gives it a nice little look of how it should be looking under the black light. You know, that little extra detail with it. Which sometimes you can't even get on the show floor, even if there is a dark area to do that. And again, normally we'd be crowded out with these, and you know, actually getting a little creeped out just zooming around and seeing these masks right there. It's like they're in the room with you. Well, if this one is so neat like this with CFX, we gotta go see how there's so many choices. I gotta check out their dolls now, because I know for myself that's one that is always creeps me out to a large degree. And yes, we have all the dolls and creepy things looking straight at you, which is always fantastic. And my cat has decided to come and crash the party too. So we start hearing my microphone get thrown around. That's his insisting that, you know, I should not be working with you guys, showing everything. I should be feeding him. Yes, we know. This is a really neat setup to really feature and show some of these masks. Oh, look, there's one of those creepy weeping angels like we were talking about. Even this clown girl's starting to creep me out. And usually I'm pretty good without the clown, so it's always a fun feel. This is one of the neat products over years I've loved with CFX and seeing them develop is, again, the cat moving stuff on you, is that they've done the gloves and some of the other effects on it. This is one thing that, you know, actors and, you know, a detail it's forgotten so much when you see it. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing an actor with really good face makeup and then they got like bare hands, and you know how much it completes the creature and completes the look with having just a glove or something to accent and highlight. So you know, this is always, I find, a great investment with haunting, is to have something like this to really bring out one of those signature characters. um, the small intestines is such a weird thing. And the neat things you can do with that, you know, Q line and everything. These are the little things that will help and work with your actors and stuff and give them something else. I've had a couple characters, you know, that work a queue, and I'd walk around with just a burlap bag, and inside of it, I'd have a small intestines like that. Because sometimes, you know, the people in line need to be entertained, need to be talked to or something. You just start coming up with different things, and you have them hold out their arm and you start measuring their arm and intestines, and somebody in the group's going to get creeped out. So I do love that a lot of these things have become available and have evolved through neat companies like CFX on this. And, you know, probably again, things that they've, you know, realized there's a need for by talking with you, engaging with you at these shows. Which is one of the fun things with the podcast. We love seeing them on there, is, you know, engaging with them and getting a better idea with it. One of these pop out videos. I don't know if I have the audio set up. It's always one of the neat things I always worried about with silicone masks is how easy they are to apply and get on, and you know, really show off some of the detail. Unfortunately, you know, even if this show was in person, you probably wouldn't be able to try on this kind of stuff with where we are with everything in the pandemic. So it's great just to be able to pop and see a video that quick that will show you that type of thing, and especially on these individual types of masks that you want to take a look for. You gotta love the true effect with the skull and the look. Deals catalog, just got about everything you can hit with CFX on this one. So that is awesome. I do love how the exit's smaller than everything else in here because they needed so much room for the product. Oh, well, we got to take a look at this. Yep. That's a playback issue with the video. Of course, one of the ones I pick. Pumpkin pulp. Yeah. Another name I've seen over the years, and another great growth vendor. Definitely some cool masks going out here there. Oh, look, it's a Krampus mask. Everybody needs a Krampus mask. It's neat being able to see a display and stuff on this. I know even I've been to shows and working in booth for a big scary show, and my wife will go around, and there's one time she saw a mask by a vendor and it was so cool. She's like, I gotta get that. And like didn't even ask if it's something I needed or was going to deal with, but just the demonstration, seeing somebody wear it. And she's like, we got to get this mask. I don't care what you got planned to go with it. Got to end up getting that mask. So that's a really neat thing with seeing some of these around and being able to check out each individual vendor. See the different masks. Judgment. I swear these Victorian era rooms are taking longer to load up on my computer. VFX. The different clown puppets. And the bungee props. They're always a good fun thing to show up here. Lunging puppets. Oh, the crate, the box. Yeah, these are always the fun ones, which will end up showing up on YouTube and everything afterwards. So there's a lot of good question and answer. Boy, so many different ones. Oh, that one's got to be popular this year. Vendor booths so big you get lost in them. The other neat part about this is you don't have that one loud effect overwhelming everybody else on it, which again is some of the spirit of the show floor, but also not the worst thing to be skipping out on. Always have that one screaming item or something that which just eats you up. This one we're in before when I blew it up. Fear Expo, but some of these smaller booths have such neat ones. And what's neat is we're seeing some new names and stuff out there too. It's going to be a big name, big year for that. Screamscapes, which always good. I think print, and I think I'd seen a trivia one here. Probably going to be an interesting year coming up to have different types of add-ons, trivia, stuff which are it's going to be very competitive in the fall for our different haunts and everything. So it's going to be good to get some of that out here with it. Scare factor. All right, showing out some of the review teams and some of the aspects they have of Scare Factor. Always got to Gotta have the listing sites going. Make sure your haunts, on as many of these listing sites and have an idea what's going on there. It also helps you compare and figure out, are you in the industry trend? Are you going with what people are doing? We got good relationships with other haunts, but sometimes that can be a little interesting too. It'd be funny, the owner I'd work with, if he thought that another haunt was doing something which wasn't competing with him, he'd tell him, "Oh, you're doing great. Don't change a thing." And if my owner was telling you that means he thinks that you're 2 steps behind him. Definitely have some of the neat things. I don't think I've popped in the Hall C yet. Ooh. Backwoodsy type theme. We're going in this one. Scream PPE. Yeah, we talked to these guys with the show. They got some neat stuff. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think we spotlighted them earlier for Fear Expo on our roundtable chat. They had some real neat stuff to talk with. Been a fun one. Now this is one of my favorites. Zagon. They've been a go-to for just that quick mask and some of the different things that they've had with it. So absolutely love that they're part of this too. That's a neat vendor. Check out some of their masks. Midnight Syndicate. We had a little discussion with them both on the show and during Fear Expo a couple weeks ago. So they're showing off some of the things that are coming up. They got a lot of neat stuff in the works. They Ed and Gavin have not been letting any grass grow under their feet over the past year. So they're ready to go and ready to do as much as possible. So go and see some neat announcements and maybe another album or two coming out soon. Even just progressing, looking through some of the show floor and stuff, you see a list of vendors. That's a catalog and how it goes. But seeing some of these really gives you an idea of you might need to check some of it out. The rebate is always available through these. Their profile, view their store. Ooh, a creepy closet. The closet thing intrigued me. That's what will happen. I'll get pulled into something. So here's their vendor store at Fear Expo. Ooh. This is like a mix of all my nightmares. Look, this thing's like an alien, like a puppet. You can just mix all my nightmares together. And definitely neat setups on how each of these vendors can pull that in. Oh. That's disturbing. Come on. Come on, load. Get me out of here. I'm getting creeped out. Oh, opened in another tab. That was even better. Oh, well, now I've found that out. See, I didn't even know we could open up multiple tabs through the stores. Geez, by end of this, I can have like 30 tabs open. Oh, yeah, this is trouble. this is great. I can open up all the tabs and then set up the POs with each of them afterwards. Yes, it's too organized. Can't even get that done in a regular show. Peel and stick. Self-adhering party masks. And again, on the quick setup to go. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. This is something too which comes up is the I don't know how many of you have cast parties or anything, but something like this isn't too bad of a thing to reward actors with, that type of thing, because they you come to a cast party, they want to show off some things, but you usually also just burnt to hell by the end of it too. I've known there's a lot of actors during the year who've had like a plan and want to show up at the cast party all decked out, but usually it's been the longer, busier night of the time, and they don't get it that far. So sometimes some of these things, even if it doesn't work for your haunt, it might work for your actors, and that's usually some of the other incentive too, especially if the charity haunts, which might be doing a little different with compensation for people, is always a primary factor. You want to try and be creative, especially with your actors during the year. Come up with a couple of different things to keep them going with it. Bar One Studios, what do they do? Ooh, limited artwork is always a helpful thing. It's always looking for that good mix between art and what you really have. Spectral illusions. Oh yes, this is a neat vendor with some of the digital things that are going on with it. Me pop into their store because they had a couple of neat things when we talked to them earlier this season. This is a big pull and stuff. I'll say for those of you who build haunts too, the digital effects are a lifesaver because there's not a ton of stuff you got to put up. It's getting easier to weatherproof and make screens and monitors more effective. So if you think you're missing something, you got a little choke point in your haunt, but you got a painting on the wall. It's you get a neat effect like this, pop in a little monitor, and then that choke point becomes a distraction point. And they've got some neat videos, definitely for you to check out. And just love how you can organize, pop in the store, and just keep on shopping and looking with the different things going on. Boo Bus. One of the things that I had not checked in are some of the other halls that we have at Fear Expo. Yeah. Let's see, we got the Christmas and the escape room and axe throwing. Escape rooms, axe throwing. This is like, a choose your own adventure. This is the type of thing that we used to do with haunts 20 years ago. Oh, well, you can go down the hallway with the axes here or the one with the lock cages on this one. It's almost we've brought some of our own fears over the years to life and in convention mode.
Hey, Storm, just to let
Yes,
you
Doug.
know, Storm, just to let you know, coming up here right now, this is just the beginning of the escape room side and the game side. We're planning on later in the season having an event for escape rooms and for Christmas. So this is just the beginning of this part of it.
That's fantastic and a great teaser at this show because those are going to be big things in the add-ons. I mean, I was kicking myself this year. The times that we thought about doing a Christmas thing years ago with the haunt we're at, if they were still in operation going, a Christmas thing and how they are popping up and how popular it was and the right type of price point and everything, just these drive-through Christmas stuff. People are paying just a couple bucks to be able to go through, do it, and an extra income to the space you have. I worked for a hayride before, and they'd have an area you probably could have driven through part of it, and do a little seasonal Christmas setup thing, charge like $10 a night. They could have made a pretty good killing. In escape rooms, you're always looking to keep stuff fresh, so starting to line up those vendors and get it all ready for it is a big factor, and just knowing where it all is. I want to check out the axe throwing. That's the thing I first did for the first time last year. We had a axe throwing bar finally open up in the area, and I actually had some got together like the night or two before my wedding to go do the axe throwing thing with my brother-in-law, father. And of course, if you think I'm, a bit out there, you wait till you meet my father. He goes in there, oh, this is a stupid thing. Axe throwing, who's going to do this? We just throw rocks in the parking lot. And, 2 hours later, he's having the time of his life. And, just even your staunch critics on it end up having a good time, which again is another, extra sale with your haunt and stuff. The neat thing about haunts is you always have people bringing stuff bringing their friends and things to a haunt where it might not be their cup of tea. And, if you offer something like axe throwing with it, they might be more inclined to go and stay a little bit longer because nothing kills a group and, has them want to do it. Like if, oh yeah, the haunting wasn't your cup of tea, wasn't what you wanted to do, but we'll go to this bar or go catch something different afterwards. So if you're able to offer something as an offshoot, like an axe throwing, that group that might have, bailed out as soon as they got through their couple of haunts might stay around, do another add-on thing. If you got concessions, it might be buying it. Somebody in the group might decide to go through one of your attractions again, or another add-on thing. So sometimes even something you might not consider, oh, how is this really purely with my haunt? Oh, it's an axe throwing, it's a little gimmicky type of thing. That might actually have a group of 4 or 5 spend another half an hour at your haunt, and that can really add up quickly with just a little add-on. And the different aspects and safety and types of avenues you can go with it, being able to do the demos, the right types of borders, and just making it easier for you to get into some of this stuff. It's a little axe throwing trailer. How easy is that? Geez, my owner would have loved one of those just for his own personal use, let alone to do that. Something like this, even with your cast and crew and stuff too. If you really want to liven up the staff meeting, you'd have the axe throwing in there too. Be a new way to choose managers. Just make sure it's safety and they're not wandering in there.
I tell you, Storm, if you get a chance, right outside this hallway at the beginning of the game is something really unique and new to that big building right there.
This guy. All right. I did see that real quick, and at first I thought it was something with it. So what do we got? Tank sing along.
So the story behind Jelly Ball is
Yeah.
these are like paintball, but they shoot at a lower RPMs. So you
Okay.
only have to wear goggles. So you could do, have it set up for birthday parties and different parties where you have a traveling outfit, or you could put it in your attraction and have it where it's UV. They have UV jelly balls. So it puts a little paint on that you can see. But what I'm planning to do at my attraction is I'm setting up a whole new area with drop panels and different things going on. And my clowns will also have guns and jelly balls, and they'll be fighting between the patrons as they're coming through.
That's pretty neat. I love that too. That's always something, we'd look at it and go, well, what else could we do? What else could we bring into it? And, the jelly ball is a really neat concept because the other two aspects was the paintball, and then there's those plastic BB things, which you need a lot of PPE with also. But like even the paintball, we had played around with that. We're outdoor haunt, but you still needed a series of netting around some of your area in case loose ones went flying off the field because you didn't want to have an issue. That's definitely something that this jelly ball would not be an issue with. You wouldn't have to have that double setup. So this is some neat setups and things, and people love that interactive thing, especially with the zombies. I think that's why the zombie paintball has been a popular concept. Is people want to be that hero, they want to be in that thing with the movie. And the hardest part with the paintball, because of high velocity, the type of armor and stuff you really got to wear on that, you get the advertised, oh, zombie paintball, and it's going to be fun, it's going to be great, and it is. But the biggest complaint is there's not enough to shoot at. There's an actor or something, and just on what they'd have to wear and how much they'd take a hit from it, it's tough to have more than a handful of actors, if that. And the idea of zombies and haunts and stuff is sometimes having mass effects coming at you, and especially UV one is a neat concept with it too. Is because things flying through the air, giving off the UV light is fantastic. I always felt it wasn't done enough, and again, it can even just be another add-on. Again, you get that group of 5 or 6 staying an extra half an hour. Oh, here's your income for it. That's a pretty neat little aspect. And it's neat too, seeing with Fear Expo how it's even grown over the past couple of months. We've worked with Doug, been talking about some of this, the show floor and all neat things coming, and yet we're still adding on cool stuff and little aspects with it. I'm like, oh, what is that building? I'd have to go and check it out. Here's another thing I do want to check out too is the Christmas stuff. A, for Christmas, and B, for lighting. I'm going to give away a little secret. Some of our stuff we've actually had to use Christmas lights in order to sort of flesh out some of our scenes over the years. One of the things we did with Clown Scene against Outdoor Hayride, and we wanted people to sort of have a feeling of a big top, and to actually build a big top itself would have been insane. But we had some telephone poles set in the field where the hayride goes through, and we got these orange and yellow Christmas lights and ran that in the shape of a tent. And it was really neat because the hayride part of it was more uphill. So they're coming downhill, and you had this really neat perspective. And from a distance, it looked like some sort of weird, out in the middle, should not belong circus setup just because of a little work with Christmas lights to give it that little definition out there. So that's what the Christmas thing I always like checking out just because it even gives the ideas of lighting with your haunt than just, ooh, do I need a Christmas attraction? Will that work? Not always in the cards, but just seeing how some of these very passionate light companies are also addressing Christmas in addition to haunts. And it's no magic paintbrush with everything. You always want a darker haunt, more intense, and sometimes you got to play with it for what you're working with for it. But again, Mini Spotlight always been another neat and growing name over the years. To see some of the things that they have, they've always been a big game changer with stuff, and always making some of this stuff more affordable for what you need too. Click on their store quick. Can never go wrong with that. Whether you're setting up a Christmas attraction or a haunt attraction, or if you're really smart, you're getting the controls and everything to run both. It brought me back out to the lobby. Yay.
Our check on that. I'm not sure why that took you back to the lobby. That should have took you right into their store.
Yeah. Yeah, that one popped me back out. I don't know if it's just one link on theirs or.
I'll go in there and check. You actually have the person sitting here who can fix it.
Exactly. Causing trouble for you, Doug.
I love it.
Recess, in their name, we've seen good sponsor for the show.
Yeah, they're actually in room 27 now, so
Okay.
they're not inside there. They're in room at the end of Hall E. We did
awesome.
a booth for them and moved them. The cool thing about Recess is if you want sponsors for your haunt, go through Recess. They have so many different sponsors looking to get involved with haunts.
Well, now I gotta go check them out in Hall E.
There you go, room 27. I can't believe I remembered that. It's almost like I know where everyone's at.
Almost as if you've been putting these together in your sleep. Ooh, the space theme. This is good. Another 20 minutes of this, and I'll be thrown out the airlock as an impersonator. Oh, yes. Look at all this stuff. Yeah. The haunt sponsoring thing is, believe me, haven't done marketing for years. It's always an aspect. And this is, so I'm going to geek out and check out some of these. I do love that it's opening up another tab on here too, because I can pop through and get an idea of what I need to look at, and then even bookmark some of these later on. Oh, look at this.
We did think that was the best way to do it, to actually have the websites and the pop-ups to come up in another tab, so you can always go back to the show floor.
No, it definitely for this little demo is good, and I think it's very, very more intuitive as walking around, and that's the thing too. Normally you'd have your bag of goodies and just keep throwing stuff in there, but with these tabs and stuff, you can go and glance right back at it. I'd be digging through the bags. I'd always be telling myself, "Oh, I'll dig through the whole bag on the plane," and then usually I'm exhausted by day 4 on the plane, and it's half a week later that I'm actually going through it to go, which were the guys with the really creepy paint I really liked?
Hey, Storm?
Yes.
Go back to the guy handling the little wand there, the zombie zapper. If you hover over that icon that shows a video, it actually, and then you slide it over the video, you can actually play the video inside the portal. You just can't move away from that.
Well, that makes sense.
So just thought I'd show you that. Anytime you see a video, you can always play a video.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think in the CFX room, the videos on the wall, I was able to pop up and check out some of those are in there, and that was really cool.
Yep.
Again, this is a wonderful demo. As a vendor, this has got to be fantastic too, because you're not given this house rules speech on each item 100 times. Yeah, no, this is a great 6-minute presentation. I don't know if the audio is coming over too with it. I do love how those pop up like that too. And you can toss right into the cart info. Ooh. That's another thing I wanted to find on here before we start wrapping up. Ah, here it is. I don't know if anybody else has checked this out, but this is new too. What do we got here? Fear Expo presents Man Madness. Ooh, yay, May educational series. So upcoming events. But I don't know if any of you have done the photo booth with this yet. I'm a little hesitant to hit it while I'm sharing and everything. God knows exactly what it's going to do. But did this on the show floor a couple weeks ago, and it does. It creates a neat little using your camera that you have set up now. It'll have a little camera, gives you some choice of backgrounds and some frames and stuff to insert, and it's like almost a physical show, and then you can share it to some of the different social medias and everything. So I do love the little photo booth, and the sponsors and everything that comes up on that is neat, fun, and a great opportunity. So definitely, as you're checking out the show floor and everything, check out that photo booth and make sure you're hitting that. And then, I love this thing too, the Great Wall of Haunts, and this is a neat feature, that Doug and team been able to do with Fear Expo that I haven't seen at a haunting convention, at least on this this type of avenue before. You have so many haunts that come and like sort of be part of it, but they're really there to buy and just get some of these names out. And you network and you meet with some of these people too. That this is just such a neat thing to be able to just see the names of the haunts. And I'm one of those people that you got to put a name to a face, and usually I got to remember it 2 or 3 times even to get it together. So just having this big freaking wall of haunts, and if I meet Al from The Haunting, I'm going to associate his face with this logo here, and especially this wall of haunts. So it's a neat little nod to all the haunts that make up our industry and why we do what we do. But I also think this is some of the help with networking and even some of the association. You get overwhelmed. You can be doing this for 20 years, and some of these shows can still be overwhelming, and especially the amount of information you're looking for. It seems like you know every show you go to, you learn something, but the next show you go to, you want to learn twice as much. So you're like
just
overloading yourself.
just to give you kind of a part two to all this, this actually was the first 150 haunts to sign up.
Ooh.
We're building 2 more rooms now to add to all the other haunts that have signed up. And then our goal is to link each one of these logos to their Facebook and eventually be able to let them have their gear in the store and or link it to the store to their gear too.
Oh, that's so awesome. And definitely, again, like I said, this is some neat for the vendors. I was saying earlier that, when you do come to shows, when you are networking with the vendors, if you've used their product, bring a picture of it, show how it's used in the field. They love seeing that. They love that that feedback. So, this is also going to be very attractive for vendors to see all these haunts, which have been associated with show, might be using their product. And as things develop, as a vendor, if you can even click on one of these and see your product at work, see your product featured, again, it's going to give you ideas and also show you a little bit of the reward with it. During my day job, I do, I'm in the construction industry, construction management. That's one of the neat things you like about it is, there's a finished product to it. And, your haunts, the stuff that you're building, the stuff you're coming at these conventions for, you're the finished product for these vendors. So, those hard nights that you're doing to get your haunt going, they're doing the hard nights to get that product to you. When they see their product in your haunt, man, that energizes people, which is such a neat thing. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions while I'm on the show floor, too, as we start wrapping things up. But yeah, definitely encourage everybody to check it out. I love that more stuff's coming too. The fact that access to some of this stuff afterwards. Oh, look at this room with the, some of the wonderful podcasts are in here too. But yeah, peruse the show floor, have some fun with it. Definitely for some of the classes and things coming out. Play with these. If you got a bad link, let Doug know. He's going to fix it. Because I mean, the coding and stuff that's gone into this is incredible. I know, a couple of weeks ago there were some nightmares with the hotspots going on, and still, even for stuff to work at all was a absolute miracle and a blow up with it, which is awesome. And I just love how easy it is to associate some of this stuff and how it's grouped together so nicely in here too. Even with the podcast, I sometimes even I get confused in my own podcast what we have on here and stuff. But having these all together and being able to associate it is awesome.
Finding a specific. So we have a question, it looks like. Someone's having trouble finding a specific vendor without wandering through the whole floor room by room. Any suggestions? Well, if you want to see their booth, you're going to have to wander.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to just see what they have in their store, you can go to the store and search by category, theme, or by name.
Yep, and that's by design too, and that's how it is with another show. Any other show you're going to, you can't just warp right to another booth. You got to walk through it, and I found that helps with the association with it. This is why we're here. It's a little bit of the interactiveness. It's to get a feel of things, not just to sit there and look through a catalog. We have the catalog aspects with it, which is absolutely fantastic. But having a show floor and something that you got to interact, and it also gives you a little feel too. It is overwhelming at first, but then you start getting together. Like Doug said, "Oh, we moved these guys to 27 in E." Well, then it's real easy to find them and find out where's room 27. Oh, all right, E, and you start seeing the patterns and stuff getting to. So that if you find out somebody's in room 14, they're probably going to be in hall B, and we'll pop right there. So it might be a little overwhelming at first, and you always have that plan for haunts. We're just doing another talk on the podcast that'll be coming out tomorrow, and we got a first time exhibitor going to first time attendee going to a show, and we're like, oh, can I expect this, and do you have a plan and stuff? And he says, oh, I really don't have a plan. And I go, well, that's good, because it's like boxing. You go into a big show like this, you got a plan until you get hit in the face, and then you don't have the plan anymore. And a lot of conventions have been like that. All right, I'm coming just to look for this and do that, and you see exactly what people have, and you get bigger, better ideas, which in the end usually end up saving you money. Even if you spend a little bit more here and there, it's going to add up in the savings and revenue towards the end. But it's funny, over the years, the shows I've gone to, and just by walking the show floor, going through the different areas, you come out with a different idea, and it might make a big difference when you get to the season. You'll get to the end of October and go, geez, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have people talking about this scene or talking about my haunt on social media as much as if I'd gone with my original plan and hadn't been open to seeing some of the new stuff out there, hadn't talked to a vendor for what different things they can offer us.
All right, well, Storm, I'm going to go ahead and end the live feed. We've been actually live feeding to YouTube and Facebook.
Yay!
So we're 6 minutes left before the next class. I kind of let you run a little bit long.
Yep, no,